Good evening. Can we call the meeting to order? Good evening. I'm Councillor Malcolm Mackay. As Chairman of the Licensing Committee, I welcome you to this meeting. That is those here and those watching on YouTube. Tonight's proceedings will be webcast live and recorded for playback. But if anyone else is intended to record these proceedings, can you please let me know now? This is not to stop you, but to ensure that those in the room knowing that this is taking place. If the fire alarm does sound, please remain seated, and the Democratic Services Officer will assess the situation and give further instructions on the evacuation of the building if necessary. Item 1, apologies. I've received apologies from Councillor Fort, Jenkins Baldock and Sands. Are there any other apologies? I don't believe so. Are there?
I've seen something about Councillor Trubinsky, but I haven't. I believe he probably didn't send it through the official system, but I'd like to apologise on his behalf. Thank you.
Can we add it? Yeah. Okay, no problem. Are there any substitute members? Thank you. Joanna Wilkinson.
Councillor Wilkinson for Councillor Jenkins Baldock.
Right. Item 3, urgent items. I intend to take item 12, licensing fees and charges, as an urgent item. The item was published in the amended agenda on Monday, and paper copies have been circulated today. We always do as we're told, don't we, David? For the first time ever.
Okay, everyone, it's Christmas.
Damn. Can I take the agenda with me? Well, members, we're on item 4. Are there any visiting members? No. Item 5, are there any disclosures by members or officers? No. Have members of the committee been lobbied? No. I move that all items be taken in public. Is that agreed? Do any members have any comments on the accuracy of the minutes? I move that the minutes of the meetings held on the 12th of September 2024 be approved as correct, record and signed. Is this agreed? Agreed. Are there any questions from local residents? I don't believe there are. Item 10. No questions from members to the chairman? No, there is not. Well, you could, if you wish. Item 11, Gambling Act 2005, Statement of Licensing Policy 2025 to 2028, Consultation Responses. This report is introduced by Lorraine Neal, Senior Licensing Officer.
Members, so this report presents committee the proposed final revision of the Council's Statement of Principles for Gambling. We'll call it the Gambling Policy going forward. For Maidstone 2025 to 2028, which is attached as Appendix 1. The review represents a minor refresh of the current policy as we await the Gambling Commission's updates to the guidance to local authorities. Once that's published, and if it is required, we will review that policy again, having regard to that updated guidance. The Gambling Act requires us to consult with various groups before we determine our final policy, and the consultees are listed at Appendix 5 of the policy. We carried out our consultation between the 16th of September 2024 and the 13th of October 2024, a 4-week period. During the consultation period, we received 5 responses, which are outlined at 2.10 of the report. And none of the consultation responses affect the direction of the policy in any way. The policy attached as Appendix 1 is the same policy members considered at the meeting on the 12th of September with 3 amendments. 1, corrections to a typo at page 5. 2, amendment to the contact information for the Bingo Association, which is at Appendix 5, page 38. And 3, the addition of the consultation details at page 6. So members are asked to consider the responses received during the consultation period and then recommend to Council that the revised policy at Appendix 1 be approved and published. Thank you.
Any member wish to? Councillor English?
Unless I'm misreading this, there was also 3 lines of text added at the bottom of page 25. Unless I'm misreading that, the changes being in red, I understand. Which wasn't mentioned in the intro report, which is just about the Public Health England statistics. Just for this. Well, I thought the amendments were in red. All amendments are in red. Okay. Yeah, but it's a change from the previous policy, which is the important thing. So, having read this, Mr. Chairman, members, it seems that there were very few responses, which is usually, in my experience in local government, a sign that people are at least not unhappy with a policy or position or what the council is doing. I'm certain that given the importance of this issue, that if the public or trade or anyone else were unhappy, we would have been told. The lack of complaint suggests to me that, at least in this area of work, we're probably on the right lines and therefore move the recommendation on the papers.
That's the proposal. Is that seconded? Is it agreed? Agreed. Thank you, members. Move to item 12. This report will be introduced by Sharon Brother, Head of Licensing Partnership.
Thank you, Chair. Before you is the report, which is the report we bring each year to review the annual fees and charges for all of our licensing regimes where we have the power to set the fees. And it's proposed that we do a percentage uplift of 4% this year, which is in line with the corporate guidance. And these would be for fees payable from the 1st of April 2025. Only one set of the fees would need to go out for consultation, which are the taxi fees for Hackney Carriage and private hire. They are required to be consulted on, and if we have any adverse feedback to the proposals, we would then bring it back to the January committee. But for the rest of them, the decision is for this evening, as recommended in the report, that we increase the fees in line with, to make sure we are covering council costs. Happy to take any questions.
Councillor English.
Thank you very much for a comprehensive piece of work. It's always a bit of a speculation as to where to pitch it, because inflation rates often change quite dramatically within a short period of time. But as far as I can see, this is a reasonable set of figures. If I'm wrong, doubtless the consultation will throw up responses to that effect. So I'm quite happy to support these proposed charges going out for consultation and see what comes back.
Thank you very much for the report, by the way. And we've had a long way to come for... Anyway, sorry, Councillor.
Thank you very much. Just interesting read. First time I've seen this sort of thing here. Just one question. We seem to be charging DBS charges differently to Hackney carriage drivers from private hire drivers. Is there any particular reason for that? One of them's, the Hackney carriage one is about £8 a year more, or £7 a year more. It's pages 60 and 61 of the pack.
Do you want me to answer that?
So you're not. So the £38 charge.
For the private hire, it's 31, or proposed new fee is 31.
That's the admin fee, that's not the DBS charge, that's a separate thing. If you see on the private hire, on page 61, the DBS fee there is 38, it's the same.
Yeah, and on page 62, it's DBS/administration fee, saying £31.
Lorraine, could you just help me explain
Okay.
what we might do for that extra £30 as separate to the fee that we pay DBS to carry out the check is a standard fee, £38, because it's their fee. It's not ours to set, it's what we pay them, and therefore we have to recoup that from the applicants. Separately, we sometimes have additional work to do around the DBSs, back and forth with the applicant, and we reserve the right to sometimes charge them extra for that extra work. But Lorraine, could you help me out on the kind of thing extra we might do on a DBS application to warrant us charging that extra admin fee.
I mean, ultimately, when they submit an application, the DBS fee is part of that first application, and the requirement now for all drivers is that we check them every 6 months, and they're meant to basically sign up to an update service that we can check them online, and they don't always do that, which means they have to come in and do an additional DBS, which is more work to us. So we have to do an additional DBS each and every time. It's the administration cost of doing that additional DBS check on them.
Okay, so should it perhaps not be made a bit more clear in the policy? I'm sure I'm not the only one confused by it.
We could put a note in the fees sheet and on, the web page, but I can't put something in the policy as such, purely because we're not here considering the taxi policy. And next time that is revised, that might be something we'll note, but we can't just put it in the policy. Policy has to come on its own report, then go out for consultation, and then come back. So it's just not a case of we can just drop it into policy, but I'm not saying that it won't end up in policy once we do a revision the next time, but we can definitely put a note in the fees sheet, shall we say, to make that clearer, and on the web page as well.
Yes, I don't think Councillor Wales was proposing changing the policy, just making the explanation clearer, as you've just indicated we can do, so that everyone is able to, who might not have seen these reports before, is able to clearly follow them.
Do we need to take a vote on this, or can we agree this? Subject to note being included and clarified, yes. Those in favour? Those against? It's agreed. I now declare this meeting closed.